Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's gaming features the most recent attack on Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Then it's up to Aaron Robichaud with fashion, the NBC News sports crew for the upcoming sporting events, the top TV shows and movies of the decade, as displayed by the fabulous Preston Minter, and then it's back to Aaron with the 40s music charts. If you don't run out of time, which we freshly may, we have a special showing of the famous Who's On First, performed by none other than the famous Mr. Abbott and Mr. Costello. Now, for tonight's headliner. The recent events regarding the Japanese bombing Pearl Harbor, Hawaii are those of tragedy. On December 7th, 1941, a few minutes before 8 o'clock a.m., a fleet of Japanese fighter planes unleashed hell on the Marine Harbor. Dropping a series of bombs and enemy fire on the unsuspecting harbor below, the attack had a total of 2,500 casualties and over 1,500 injuries. Although the Japanese planes were picked up on the newer radar system, they were mistaken for American B-17s that were due in that day. As you may know, on December 8th, 1941, President Roosevelt declared war on Japan, and in his famous speech, he said, "No matter how long it may take, the American people, in their righteous minds, will win through to victory." Thanks, Aaron. This just in. America's trying to overwhelm the enemy through mass production. 8,000 tanks, 7,333 ships, 20 million rifles, and over 40 billion bullets have been produced in just the little 4 years that we've been at war with Japan. The question is, who is producing these large, numerous, and monstrous numbers of items while the men are at war? The answer? Women. Women are taking over the industry and manufacturing all these goods to help America. Now, if you would like to contribute to this and help America win this war, please call the number below. 888-888-888. That is, if you would like to contribute to America and help us win this war, manufacturing tanks, weapons, rifles, etc., call the number below. 888-888-888. And I will see you here after sports. Thank you, crew. We'll be back shortly with the news, but let's go to Preston Minter and on Newsroom to talk about the decade's most popular films and TV shows. Hi guys, you guys like movies, right? I mean, you have to keep yourself entertained for an hour and a half, correct? I mean, come on. With the war going on, it's kind of nice to refamiliarize yourself with the fantasy world that you guys grew up with. If you guys really like movies, I recommend checking out the 3 top movies that I think are of the 1940s. Fantasia. And in one of the best Disney movies of all time, this movie contains classical music and little Disney shorts that go along with the classical music. It's the first of its time, so might as well go check it out. While you're over there, check out The Sorcerer's Apprentice, one of the most famous Disney shorts ever created. You know Mickey Mouse doesn't really want to carry the water from the well up to the cauldron where his sorcerer is, so he takes the brooms and he casts a spell on him and makes it do it for him. However, he doesn't know how to stop. The second movie I really suggest that you take a look at is Dumbo. Big elephant, big ears, lots of fun for the whole family, and this rat or chipmunk, or I don't even know what it is, funniest character ever. If you're not really into Disney and you're really into the war and all that cool stuff that's going on right now in our world, check out the movie Casablanca, or Casablanca, depends on where you're from. This guy, Rick, owns the most popular night spot in Casablanca. He's exiled from America, but he finds his 2 transit tickets. Then he finds the owners of the transit tickets. One of them being a girl that he met in Paris, but she ran off with some other guy. And the guy that she ran off with, Rick, who's still mad at Lisa for leaving him in Paris, plans on keeping the transit tickets for his own and not giving them to him to help them. However, once he learns that Lisa had a good reason to leave Paris, he decides to help her. They plan on leaving Casablanca with the 2 transit tickets that Rick has in his possession. But not everything really goes to plan. Lastly, if you're not really into the whole Casablanca thing, and you want to get some laughs out of it, go check out Abbott and Costello. They're one of the funniest guys in Hollywood. They have a new movie out. It's called Abbott and Costello Meets Frankenstein. It's named one of the most comical horror spoofs ever. If you guys are really into movies and you're really into TV shows, which is cool too, because you all have TVs, right? You have to keep up with the news, your sports. Why not keep up on a TV show too? I have 2 great shows that you guys should check out. The first one is a Howdy Doody show. It's a cool show for little kids, but it's also good for families. This guy, he controls a bunch of puppets, and they have cool skits and cool laughs. It's a really good time. It's howdy doody time, it's howdy doody time. I mean, you can't get over that jingle, right? If you guys like Abbott and Costello from their Abbott and Costello Meets Frankenstein and their famous Who's On First, why not check out their new show? It's the same comical 2 people, but in a TV show. Well, that's all I have on TVs and movies of the decade. Back to you. Thanks, Preston. I've always wanted to see Fantasia. News from France. 160,000 American and British Allied troops have traveled to a heavily armed German Allied beach in Normandy, France. 5,000 ships, 13,000 aircrafts, and over 30 tanks accompanying the troops. The mission was a success, however there were 9,000 casualties. Luckily, we have 100,000 plus troops who have made it onto the German Allied soil and are marching their way to defeat Hitler. We here at the NBC Newsroom extend our hearts to the families and friends who have lost a member today, the mission that's best known as D-Day. Who likes music? Well, if you do, Aaron's going to talk about this decade's music. This just in. Japan has surrendered. We go to Emily right now in our newsroom who has more information. Emily? We conclude tonight with an extended hand and heart to the families of the deceased and injured. We also extend our deepest gratitude here at the NBC Newsroom towards the many, many soldiers who have lost their lives and who have fought in this horrendous war. We thank you. And now we have a special showing of the famous Who's On First, performed by the Abbott and Costello. Good night, everybody.